Hey everybody, welcome to the Writers Not Writing Show. My name is Brian Dunn, and I'm your host, and this is the show that seeks to answer the burning question, why am I not writing as much as I should be? And it's a valid question because I am a writer. I write for my 9 to 5. I also write on the outside. I have all sorts of humorous pieces out there and short fiction pieces at various far-flung places on the web. And I'm also an award-winning podcaster. But more important than all that stuff is if you were to take the list of projects that I currently have in some sort of completed state or that I've been germinating on, is that right? Germinating on? I should know. It's been germinating in my head. If you took all those projects and you just wrote one on a single sheet of 8.5 by 11 paper, let me get this, and you stack them just one on top of the other, it would be like, my God, it would be like that high. There's a ton of projects out there is what I'm saying, and I'm not getting any younger. I got to get to these. So by all accounts, I should be writing my ass off, and I haven't been. And so the question is, why am I not? Well, in this case, 2 words, major appliances. Yeah, I'm having trouble with my major appliances, and it's kind of wrecking my life. Well, not major appliances, plural. I guess it's one. It's this damn KitchenAid Downdraft that I have, this horrible piece of machinery. Well, let me back up before I start bad mouthing the KitchenAid Downdraft that will neither go up nor go down. It's a what would you call that? The one that retractable. That's right. Yeah, it's a retractable. Anyway, before I start talking about that, a little backstory. I've done a little remodeling on the house. Okay, not my favorite thing to do. Nobody's favorite thing to do, but even more challenging when you decide not to get a general contractor and you're like, you know what, this guy can handle it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna manage all these tradesmen and organize everything and coordinate schedules and make sure that this is done before that's done and all that stuff. Yeah, no, it's been kind of a nightmare. It's kind of lasted all summer, which I didn't want it to do, but it has. And what we're left with is we're like in the final stages of this, and you want to complete that last 5% of whatever project you're on, whether it's a writing project. I know a lot of people struggle with, hey, just finish it and ship it and be done with it and push through to get that last little bit done. Well, just like a project like that, this thing you want to have wrapped up, right? You want your house to be in kind of a settled state. And mine is not because of this goddamn KitchenAid Downdraft. So this thing, it's been nothing but trouble. We have an island that got new cabinets and a new countertop. About a year ago, we purchased, and this kind of kicked off the whole thing, we purchased new appliances, and we saw this really nifty little cooktop, very, space-agey and everything. There's no like dials or knobs anymore. Everything's like touch screen, touch surface kind of thing, and everything's all digital numbers. Not my favorite thing. Like I want like big kind of hulking controls that I can like twist and like press in, and that will maybe like, I don't know, like pop up if something cool happens. That's the kind of stuff that I want. I don't want like digital readouts and things like that. And but I guess it's not really for me. I don't do a ton of cooking. It's actually my mother-in-law who actually is a little more confounded by the lack of knobs and buzzers and dials and things than I am. So anyway, we weren't thinking about all that. We're like, hey, what's new? Let's check out cooktops. Yeah, so we get this cooktop, okay? Well, with a cooktop, you need to have a vent, right? Because if you're cooking, like smelly stuff or stuff that just like causes a big old thing of like smoke to happen, there's got to be some way to get that out of the house. Otherwise, the fire alarm, it makes a big thing. If you get out the ladder, and you might fall off the ladder. I don't really get on ladders anymore. Bad experience a number of years ago. Not going to get into that. Anywho, so what you want to do is you want to get a vent. All right. Well, here's the thing. It's a very easy decision where to go vent-wise if you have. So we've got the island here, and then you've got like the perimeter area right there, right? Okay, so if the cooktop is like in the perimeter area, and let's say the sink is in the island, which is a popular configuration, it turns out, and that's for a reason. But if that's the configuration you have, if you've got the sink here in the island, and then you've got the cooktop here, it's very easy. You put a hood above it, right? Just a big thing that just right above the cooktop. and that just gets rid of all the unseemly odors and stuff like that. That's not what we have, of course. No. When this house was built, they decided, hey, let's put the cooktop in the island. No. Why did you do that? Why would you do that? Don't do that. But they did. And so we get this house, and we've got the sink along the perimeter, and we have the cooktop in the island. And the old cooktop was kind of a weird configuration, but it worked. The design of it did. You had burner, and then like this little strip that kind of separated the two halves was the vent. It was just there. It was built in. That was the beauty of it. It was just built in. It wasn't something separate or extra, and it didn't try to raise or lower at the touch of a button. It was there, and when you needed it, you turned the thing on, and it sucked all the stuff out of the air that you didn't want, and you were good. Yeah, we didn't get a cooktop like that this time. We got a cooktop with more burners, and when you have more burners, guess what you don't have room for? The vent, right? And so then the question is, well, God, what do you do with the vent? That's what I was asking the guy. Is, hey, there's no vent, and we don't want a hood, because if you have the hood on the island, you've got like this a ceiling. You've got like this huge, really tall vent that just is kind of an eyesore. And he says, take a look at this retractable vent. They call it a downdraft. And I said, well, that sounds pretty cool. Like a retractable downdraft? He's like, yeah. Okay, let's see this thing. So on the showroom floor there, they have this model. He says, press that button. Press the button. This thing is magical. It goes, and raises just pretty as can be. Flip a little switch. It does the whole sucking thing of the air. Flip the switch off. Thing, goes up, and press the button again, and boom. And it just lowers like a dream, and it's out of the way. And it just seemed so cool at the time. It was like, oh my God, honey, with just a push of a button, look what this thing does. It raises, and then it stops, and then when you don't want it anymore, you lower it. And how cool is that? And he said, can I put you down for one? And I said, you can put me down for two. I said, wait, I only need one. Put me down for one. Put me down for one. And he did. And then that and the other major appliances sat in their little warehouse, little area for about 9 months until we were actually ready to use it. They weren't too happy with us just kind of camping our stuff out there. But anyway, we get the other stuff to the point where we can finally use this thing. And then what happens is the countertop guys who have to actually cut. The first thing, let me back up. Before the countertop guys come into play, there's the cabinet guys, right? There's the island. There's like a standard depth of an island cabinet. It's like, let's say it's 34 inches, okay? All right. Well, with the cooktop depth, and then you add the depth of now the downdraft or the down vent or whatever, downdraft vent, whatever they call it, when you add that, now all of a sudden you're getting like super tight as far as space, right? So I think out of like the 34 inches that you have to work with, you have to use like 33 and like 3/4, okay? So you're talking about like a quarter inch worth of play that you have, right? And then the other thing is, the way the quartz countertop is, you have to leave like a certain amount right in front, because otherwise it might chip, because you have to have like a certain, it's got to be like that deep, so the quartz holds up with the weight of everything. Anyway, the first time the countertop guys come, first they deliver it without the hole cut out at all. That was a mistake right there. It should have been cut right like at the fabrication place. No, they deliver a beautiful piece of granite, and they install it, and I look at it, and it had been so long since we had a cooktop. I said, that looks great, fellas. Not even, yeah, I can't even believe, now that I'm saying this, it sounds so absurd. I didn't even think of the cooktop having to be in the island. I just saw this beautiful piece of quartz, and I just said, yep, we'll have it. Yeah, just like that. Just like that. They left. All of a sudden I realized, holy shit, there's no place for the cooktop. Oh my God, the cooktop, it has to go in the island. I mean, that's where the cooking of food takes place. And it was just this solid piece of quartz. So immediately right there, I'm questioning whether I should be the general contractor for this whole thing, because I'm kind of taking it upon myself to get everything coordinated. And that was a bit of an oversight on my part, admittedly. Okay, but you know what? No harm done. They had to come back and they had to install some backsplashes for some other things for the bathroom countertops that they hadn't brought with them. So, hey, you know what? Let's cut that hole when you come out next time. Yeah, no problem. We've got it. You're golden. Okay, good. Well, so they come out, and I've got the cooktop there. At this point, the appliance company has said, we're not going to keep it anymore. You guys need to keep it. Okay, fine, no problem. So the boxes get delivered with all these appliances, and then they say, you let us know when things are good for the install. Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that. So they deliver the stuff. It's sitting there just kind of like in my family room, along with all this other crap that we've had to push out of the kitchen. And they're literally right there. Got the cooktop, okay? Got the downdraft. And I had like 3 different groups of people in my house at the same time on this Saturday. I'll never forget. I managed to get cabinet guys, install guys, and countertop guys, like all in one place at one time, because I wanted them to talk to each other and communicate and say what needed to be done. So what happens is the installer guy says, hey, you have to cut the hole for these 2 things. They go together. They're a team, right? So make sure you cut the hole for it. Oh, yeah, we will. Meanwhile, I'm outside. I am talking to the cabinet guy. As I'm talking to the cabinet guy, I get engrossed in the conversation we're having. He's talking about stuff, and I'm interested. I'm like, oh, no, that's cool stuff. And meanwhile, the installer then leaves, kind of slips out behind me, like, hey, we're good here. We're good here. And I say, okay, great, thanks. And as I'm still talking to the cabinet guy, then the countertop guy says, all right, we're good too. And I said, well, that's wonderful. That went faster than I thought. And then he takes off. I finish up with the cabinet guy, and I walk into my kitchen, and there is a hole cut in the countertop, except it's a hole that's cut just for the cooktop. It's not a hole that was cut for the cooktop and the downdraft. It was as though they decided, let's pretend the downdraft doesn't exist. Let's not even worry. He may not even notice that this huge apparatus that's supposed to go right next to the cooktop, he may not even notice that we didn't cut the hole for it. We're going to get out of here. Our work's finished. And the cooktop is in there. And I've been so busy talking to this other guy and thinking about things that after they're gone, I look at it and I think, oh, that looks beautiful. That's perfect. Not even realizing that the downdraft isn't in there. I just see the cooktop. I'm happy. I'm satisfied. And then I look around the room and I look and I see the downdraft just lying on the floor. It's obviously been taken out of the box. It's there. They had the specs for it to cut it. They also had the actual downdraft right there. They didn't cut the hole for it. It was as though they looked at it and were like, what's that? Or like monkeys seeing something man-made. I don't know. And then they just decided, well, screw it. We're not even gonna cut for that. And they didn't. So now I've got the cooktop, and the cooktop's fine, and it's in there, and it looks okay, but there's no downdraft. And this is what happened. For a moment, I looked at it and I thought, maybe we just go with this the way it is. You know what? Maybe we don't need a downdraft. Well, guess what? You need a vent. You need a downdraft. Okay? First of all, it's like a code thing. I guess like some inspector will knock you if he comes around sniffing around your house, or if you try to sell the thing and he's like, how do you get the stinky stuff out of the air when you're cooking? This is unsaleable. And then, you never know when you're going to need to sell your house in a hurry. Something like that could really gum up the works. So turns out you need it. So I give them a call. I mean, they're long gone. I call the home office. It's a Saturday. Nobody's there. Nobody's going to pick up the phone on a Saturday. They're not working. So I leave a message. Hey, you guys cut the hole for the cooktop. They they didn't cut it for the downdraft, need to get them back out. Okay. So now I'm asking them to come out a third time. I mean, they should, don't get me wrong, but now they're starting to just kind of think, yeah, God, this guy's kind of a pain in the ass. Even though, really, I feel through no fault of my own, other than maybe like general ignorance about how this whole thing works. But anyway, I feel like I'm starting to be begrudged a little bit. They're taking a little bit of umbrage with me now and having to come back. This is not even near the end of it. Good God. Okay. They come back, and I say, here's the downdraft, and you only have the cooktop in. And again, they look at the downdraft, and they're like, God, Jesus, what is this thing? I'm like, what are you talking about? It's the vent. Don't you guys do this all the time? No, we've never seen this. What? How have you never? Really? You're cutting countertops like all the time for all sorts of things to fit it. How is it you've never seen? They're like, well, we don't know what this is. How does it install? How does it fit? And I said, I don't know. The time to ask that was when the installer was there, not me. I don't know. I've never installed one of these things, but I'm a writer. I write. I do this all day. Just it's not. I have no frame of reference for this. I don't know. I just tell them, listen, here it is. Just measure for it, right? Okay, and then they say it looks like the cabinet's not big enough. Well, how can that be? So then I call the appliance place and I say, did you sell me a cooktop and downdraft that's not going to fit in a standard island cabinet? No, sir, we didn't. They're going to have to move up the cut that they already made. Then they're going to have to cut a little bit behind it. And I tell them that. And they're like, well, there's not a lot of leeway here. There's, we're almost like at the very edges. And I say, yeah, just figure out how to make it work. Well, they try to. They cut the hole. They have to add a little bit to the front, and then they add a little bit more to the back, and they move the cooktop closer to the edge. And then they kind of like dry fit, that's a term that I learned over the summer. Dry fitting something is just making sure it fits. And they kind of put that in. Now that I think, no, they didn't even do that. Shit. No, that was with something else. They didn't even take the time to do that. Did they? I don't know. I can't remember. Anyway, long story short, they say, we've done our job. Now it's up to the installer. Okay. Hello, TV appliance store. Send your installer out. Hey, Brian, do you have the hole cut right? Yeah, I sure do. Go ahead and send your best guy. Oh, we're not going to send our best guy. We may send somebody else. Okay, whatever. They don't send their best guy. They send somebody I've never seen before. I understand. Okay, it's fine. These are not the TV and appliance stores guys. They're contracting this out. Okay, but I don't know. I wanted to see my guy. I wanted to see the person I had already seen, come into my house. Nope. Different guy. This guy comes with an assistant, with a helper, and they proceed to jam this downdraft into this spot. They're like cursing the entire. They're like, "Wow, this space. Who cut this hole in the island?" And I said, "Well, the countertop guys cut the hole." They're like, "Ah, well, what the hell are they doing?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. They were trying to do their thing." He's like, "Oh, this is terrible. It's not this, it's not that, the line's not straight out." And so they spend like literally like 45 minutes just like jamming this, like jam, I hear like bam, bam, bam. And at one point the guy like takes a screwdriver. It's not level. They've put it in, but it's like one side. So the guy takes a screwdriver and he puts it on the side of the thing, and he takes a mallet and he like bam, 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 and he hammers the thing, and it goes down. And he's like, all right, it's in there, it's good. And I say, all right, well, thank you guys so much. This is wonderful. This really looks good. Let's go ahead. Let's see this thing, let's do that. Hit the button. Stops. It's supposed to go a little bit higher than that. Hit the button again. Just stays there. Right. Not going anyplace. I have to manually now like lift it up the rest of the way. And now it's up. And then I hit the button down. It's going down. It gets to the last quarter. Just like this shimmy shake thing that is just, it's wrong. I flash back to that day when we were on the showroom floor. There was no manually lifting the thing up. There was no shimmy shake on the way down. It was so beautiful how it just rose and then it just lowered. And then it was like, almost flush with the countertop there in the showroom. It just looks so nice. And I looked at mine and I said, yeah, this isn't how it's supposed to work. And he said, well, it's installed properly. And I said, well, I have a feeling that it's not, because it stops a quarter of the way through and then it shakes on the way back down. And he says, yeah, well, I think this is a services tech issue. He said, this is not an installation problem. And I said, well, what makes you say that? Oh, well, this thing's been sitting around the warehouse for about 9 months, and I've seen these motors just go bad and even be delivered with bad motors. The motor doesn't even work. He's like, oh, I've seen people that can't even get it to even go up a little bit. And I'm like, well, I don't really care about those people. I care about me. And he says, yeah, well, you know what? I've kind of done my job. I've jammed that sucker in there. And he says, so I'll just let him know we need a services tech person to come out. Okay, well, thanks, fellas. See ya, thanks for your work. Yeah, service tech guy comes out, and he's like, what did the installer do? I said, what are you talking about? He says, this thing is just like jammed in here like nobody's business. It's like shoehorned. It's wedged. He said, it's not even installed properly. And I said, why isn't it installed properly? Like, what's preventing the proper installation? You know what he says? The hole in the countertop. God, jeez, what? Back to the countertop. Oh, God, the countertop. He says, yeah, this is pretty bad. He said, I'm going to do you a favor. I'm going to call the TV and appliance store. I'm going to let them know what's going on. And what you need to do is you need to get the countertop guy back here. He needs the line's not straight and the hole isn't right. And I say, okay, that's what I'm gonna do. Call up the countertop guy, and he's like, hey, looking at this, I realize that if I am going to go ahead and cut any more, the hole's gonna be too big. And I said, what do you mean the hole's too? He said, there's gonna be like a gap. He said, you're gonna have a big old gap in your quartz. It's gonna be a big old ugly gap. He said, this is to the ends of the island cabinet. And I start thinking, did they sell me something that doesn't fit into a standard island cabinet? God, and then I realized, no, they have. It has to. There's no way a company, KitchenAid, would make a cooktop that pairs with a downdraft that would not fit into a standard island cabinet. They would go out of business if they did that. So it sounds to me like this whole thing now it's too big. Now it's too big if they cut it anymore. And he doesn't know why, but he does see that the thing is entirely not level. And when it goes down and it starts to shimmy and then it kind of like stops at the end, you can see that one side is higher than another. And he says, yeah, you know what this is? This is an install problem. Yeah. It's an install problem. So just to recap, the countertop guy says it's an install problem. The install says it's a services tech problem. Services tech says it's both an install and a countertop problem. Kind of a countertop problem through the installer, or I guess no, more of like an installer problem via the countertop being. I don't know. The thing is, we have like this triangle of people here, and each one is blaming, and this guy blames this guy, is that a good visual? This guy blames this guy who blames that. Anyway, it's a whole thing, and it's very frustrating, and that is why I have not been writing as much as I should be. Okay, well, felt good to get that off my chest a little bit. No, it didn't really. Actually, I'm more depressed than when I started this episode, but anyway, thanks for tuning into the show. We have more episodes coming up. Please subscribe and watch more episodes and everything. And thanks for tuning into the Writers Not Writing Show. I'm your host, Brian Dunn, and I will see you next time. Thanks, everybody. So long.